Welcome to Space Matrix. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. The news hit like a thunderclap. 5 corporate giants, pillars of American industry, announced their sudden departure from the United States. Their logos were as familiar as the flag itself, and now they were gone, leaving the nation stunned and asking why. The announcement came without warning, sending shockwaves through Wall Street and Main Street. These weren't startups. They were titans. A German automaker, a Japanese electronics firm, a French manufacturer, a South Korean tech leader, and a Canadian supplier. Their exit was a monumental vote of no confidence in the American market. Stock markets tumbled, politicians pointed fingers, but beneath the noise, a deeper story was unfolding. This was the painful climax of a long simmering trade war, a policy meant to protect American jobs that ended up pushing them away. For communities, the news was devastating. Mayors held emergency press conferences, workers gathered outside factory gates, and entire towns faced an uncertain future. These companies weren't just employers, they were the lifeblood of local economies. Their exit felt like a vital organ ripped from the body of the community. The American dream for many had just turned into a nightmare, and the story was only beginning. To understand why these giants left, we need to talk about tariffs. A tariff is a tax on imported goods, designed to make foreign products more expensive and encourage buying American. The Trump administration launched aggressive tariffs, targeting billions in goods from China and even US allies. Steel, aluminum, electronics, suddenly everything cost more to import. The promise protect American jobs and rebuild industry. But the global economy is a web. Made in America products often rely on parts from around the world. Tariffs didn't just hit finished goods, they taxed the raw materials and components American factories needed. Companies found themselves paying more just to operate in the US. The policy meant to protect American industry started punishing the very companies that invested here. It was a classic case of unintended consequences. For these 5 giants, those consequences became unbearable. Tariffs crept in like a rising tide, slowly drowning the balance sheets of these corporations. At first, companies absorbed the costs, hoping for a quick resolution, but the tariffs stuck, turning a minor inconvenience into a financial crisis. Every shipment, steel, microchips, specialty parts came with a hefty tax. The German automaker's US plant, once a point of pride, saw costs soar on every car built. The Japanese electronics firm and French manufacturer faced the same squeeze. Components and materials became unaffordable. Building in America was no longer competitive. Factories elsewhere, like Mexico or Southeast Asia, looked far more attractive. Companies tried to raise prices, but in a global market, there's a limit before customers walk away. The very policies meant to make America attractive for business made it one of the most expensive places to operate. The giants were trapped, and something had to give. Their exit was inevitable. The impact of tariffs rippled across industries, technology, automotive manufacturing, all deeply reliant on global supply chains. The South Korean tech company's Texas plant was crippled by tariffs on semiconductors and display panels. The automotive sector, a symbol of American might, faced a nightmare. Tariffs on steel, aluminum, and auto parts made assembling cars in the US prohibitively expensive. Even American car companies suffered, as global supply chains became tangled and costly. The French conglomerate and Canadian supplier saw their US operations become unsustainable. Rising costs for raw materials hit every link in the chain, from energy to construction. The domino effect reached local suppliers, logistics firms, and small businesses. Everyone felt the pain. As the giants stumbled, entire regional economies teetered on the brink. The health of these titans was tied to thousands of smaller enterprises. When they fell, the whole ecosystem began to collapse. Before leaving, these companies fought desperately to stay. They lobbied for tariff exemptions, arguing the policy hurt American operations more than it helped. When lobbying failed, they tried to rework supply chains, sourcing from Mexico, Canada, Vietnam, but decades-old systems couldn't change overnight. Engineers redesigned products, but American mills couldn't always supply the right materials. Innovation was slow, and costs kept rising. Internal reviews showed it was now cheaper to manufacture abroad and import to the US, even with tariffs, than to build here. The policy meant to encourage domestic production had backfired. The companies struggled to adapt became a losing battle. The math no longer worked, their only option was to leave. The departure wasn't just a business story, it was a human tragedy. Factory closures meant thousands lost stable, well-paying jobs overnight. In towns built around these plants, the economic shock was catastrophic. Local businesses, suppliers, and even schools suffered as the economic base vanished. Main streets emptied, tax revenues dried up, and entire communities faced decline. Workers, skilled and loyal, suddenly found their expertise obsolete. Many faced retraining or moving away, with the emotional toll as heavy as the financial loss. This pattern repeated across the country: shock, grief, and uncertainty. Empty factories became monuments to policy gone wrong. The real price was paid by ordinary Americans who believed in the promise of American industry. The exit of these giants leaves America at a crossroads. Is this the start of a larger exodus? Economists fear a chilling effect on future investment. The US was once the world's top destination for global business. Now, that reputation is shaken. The short-term outlook for affected regions is bleak: job losses, higher unemployment, and economic decline. Some hope smaller domestic firms might fill the void, but most lack the resources to compete at scale. Policymakers face a stark choice: double down on protectionism, risking more departures, or re-engage globally to restore trust and stability. The story of these 5 companies is a painful lesson in the complexities of global trade. The challenge now is to learn from this, moving beyond slogans to real solutions. America's future depends on creating a stable, competitive environment that attracts investment and supports workers. The choices made today will shape the economy for generations. The stakes couldn't be higher.